Welcome back, everyone. We're watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory today. Storm here.
No, I'm here.
Kimmy here.
You all requested this movie and voted for it on our Patreon.
That's fun.
Yes, I think we're in for a fun time.
Yeah, I think so.
I saw this when I was very little. It's been a very long time.
Same here with me. I've seen it too.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it too many times.
Yeah.
I loved it as a kid.
So shall we get into this?
Yes, let's do it.
So this is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971.
Okay.
I know what we're having after this. School's out! I know.
Right to the candy shop. What a nice candy guy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't want that.
Oh, boy.
Good catch.
Nobody ever comes out.
Here, want a cleaver?
Oh, it loses a toe now and then.
Wake up! Wake up! Charlie's home.
Oh, they're so positive.
Yes.
Grandpa Georgie.
Oh,
Georgina and
Grandma
George.
Josephine.
Oh,
look
just,
at that. It's just so cute.
Grandpa Joe.
oh, you're going to pay for us to bag
Oh,
up?
my goodness.
Pay
It's
for it,
so
Charlie.
sweet.
I'm giving it up.
Come on, Dad. It's only 1 pie a day.
When a loaf of bread looks like a banquet, I've no right buying tobacco.
Yes.
That's true.
Please take it.
Steal Mr. Wonka's secret recipes, especially Slugworth. Oh, that
Slugworth.
was the worst.
Oh,
Sounds bad.
Mr. Wonka shouted, I shall be ruined. Close the factory. And that's just what he did. He locked the gates and vanished completely.
oh, God.
Got me too.
Yeah.
Poof. The sound effect too.
What a fun guy.
What's happening?
Willy Wonka's opening his factory. He's gonna let people in.
Is she?
It's on the radio and he's giving truckloads of chocolate away.
Class dismissed.
Can I go?
He sent him 5 golden tickets and the people who find him will win the big prize.
Where's he hidden the tickets?
Inside 5 Wonka bars. You gotta buy Wonka bars to find them.
Brilliant.
Dismissed.
Be dismissed.
Yeah.
Awesome teacher.
Very exciting.
That's right.
Let's drop things.
Store shelves at a rate to boggle the mind. Truly, it is incredible the way that Wonkamania
All over the world. White House.
wondering where the pursuit
It's a big deal.
Wow, look at
how
it.
long the spirit of man will
Okay, big grandmas.
You said just shut up, said I tell you where the ticket is.
Remember this guy?
Without notice at any point on the map. No one knew where, no one knew when the first one would hit. But as you all know, last night we got our answer. While we in America slept, the first golden ticket was found in the small town of Duselheim, Germany. We've been waiting several hours for the follow-up story, and we're finally ready with a live report. Proud view
I like that the antlers are behind him.
with this day right here in Duselheim. A community suddenly thrust into prominence.
It's gonna cost an fortune and fudge.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
To say a few words to the television audience.
I trust you, Augustus, would find a golden ticket. Reading is his hobby, you know. We encourage him.
Oh,
Do it unless he needed some nourishment.
he's a spy.
Happy birthday, Charlie.
Aw.
Here you are, Charlie. I got it!
Where?
Let's see. Told you, didn't I?
Aw.
You thought I really had it.
That was mean.
Mind, Charlie. You'll find one.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
God.
All this,
Donate the
like,
chocolate.
yeah.
I want you to be the first to find the golden ticket, Daddy.
And that's right.
We're doing the best we can.
Oh.
Go on the bleeding stuff hunting for you.
All right,
No.
where is it? Where have you found it?
Veruca,
no.
sweetheart, I'm not a magician. Give me
Oh,
time.
I want it now. What's the mess with those twats down there?
Oh my
Bratty.
God, such a brat.
Country's been on the job. They haven't shelled a peanut in there since Monday.
Promise, Daddy. You promised I'd have
This
it
is all his fault.
I'm just gonna say he made her that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
around here, Henry, if you don't deliver soon.
It breaks my heart, Henrietta.
Look at it.
I hate to see her unhappy.
I won't talk to you ever again. You're a rotten, mean father. You'll never
Oh,
give me
you
anything
are
I want.
mean daughter.
I won't go to school till I have it.
Veruca, sweetheart, angel. Now, there are only 4 tickets left in the whole world, and the whole ruddy world's hunting for them. What can I do?
About time. What a rotten. There he is again.
Yeah.
It's that same guy.
Boy.
She just listens so.
Thank God for that. He says, what would a computer do with a lifetime supply of chocolate?
It's true.
Sense of humor.
I have no
Smart machine.
exactly what he can do with a lifetime supply of chocolate.
Stick it up here.
It's gonna shut down.
And it can happen right here too, unbelievable as it sounds, right here in America, where even in the smallest town, the happiest of dreams can come true. Let me just put it here.
Oh boy. There he is. There he is again.
Ooh.
Sky.
You get blue like everyone, but me and Grandpa Joe can make your troubles go away. Pretty soon the sky is gonna clear up, Charlie. Cheer up, Charlie. Do. Cheer up, Charlie. Just be glad you're you.
I wish she sang it to him, you know.
Rest of the world is on searching here in the Southwest. It has actually happened.
What do you think life's all about?
Mike, would you tell us
Oh,
something?
Jesus.
Wait till I get a real one. Code 45. Pop won't let me have one yet, will you, Pop?
Not till you're 12, son.
Boy.
So shooting the cow.
Oh, there he is again.
Yeah, I know, with a big scar.
Yeah, it's probably that Cleaver guy.
Somewhere out there, another lucky person is moving closer and closer to finding the last of the most sought-after prizes in history. Though we cannot help but envy him, whoever he is, and we might be tempted to be bitter at our losing, we must remember there are many more important things. Many more important things.
I can't name it.
Offhand, I can't think of what they are.
Everyone's infatuated with him.
He's great.
Why'd you wake me up, Grandpa? Is something wrong? You know, I bet those golden tickets make the chocolate taste terrible.
Oh, look at him.
Auctioning it off.
Yes.
I can personally guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, that this is the one and only, the absolutely last case of Wonka bars left in the United Kingdom. Shall we start the bidding at
Gonna
£1,000?
guarantee it.
£1,000.
Making quite a profit, huh? Holy cow.
2,500 here, £4,000, £4,500, £5,000. Your Majesty.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, Mrs. Goose. Doesn't seem to be anything in his papers to give us a clue.
I kidnapped my husband 12 hours ago. Here it is. They can have it.
Cool.
They want your case of Wonka bars.
She won't give it up much. She won't give it up.
The chocolate's more important than that golden ticket.
Did you hear me?
She's not going to give it up.
It's your husband's life or your case of Wonka bars. Give me to think it over. That's it. It's all over. The test is all over. The fifth and final ticket has been found. I've just decided to switch our Friday schedule to Monday, which means that the test we take each Friday on what we learned during the week will now take place on Monday before we've learned it.
Wait, what?
Learned it.
Today we are going to learn about percentages. You open 200 Wonka bars. Apart from being dreadfully sick, you'd have used up 20% of 1,000, which is 15% half over again, 10%.
Well, at least no one teased him.
All the tickets have been found. I don't have to hide them anymore.
I think I'll buy just one more. For my Grandpa Joe.
Sure.
He loves to savor the moment.
Yes, right there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Be careful. Don't lose it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Don't let it fly away.
Whoa.
Whoa. Oh, no.
I've got the last golden ticket. I can't swallow the last golden
Oh, she was nice and didn't take it. That's scary. Yeah, yoink.
Yes, right? Don't trust him. Oh, my God. Oh, not him again.
I congratulate you, little.
He's like magic.
Yeah.
You found the fifth golden ticket.
It's like he knows where they were.
May I introduce myself? Arthur Slugworth.
Slugworth.
Yeah.
Competition.
Now listen carefully, because I'm going to make you very rich indeed. Mr. Wonka is at this moment working on a fantastic invention. The everlasting gobstopper. If he succeeds, he'll ruin me. So all I want you to do is to get hold of just one everlasting gobstopper and bring it to me so that I can find the secret formula. Your reward will be 10,000 of these. Greetings to you, the lucky finder of this golden ticket. From Mr. Willy Wonka. Present this ticket at the factory gates at 10 o'clock in the morning of the first day of October, and do not be late. You may bring with you one member of your own family, but no one else. Charlie.
20 years.
That's right, my God. No bed sores.
Help me up.
Oh no!
Oh, my God.
This was soft.
Yeah.
Oh,
boy.
boy.
Georgia.
Watch it.
Watch out. Don't crush.
How was the mom help?
Oh, my God.
I never thought my life could be anything but catastrophe. But suddenly I begin to see a bit of good luck for me. 'Cause I've got a golden ticket. Here I go.
He's like dad. Yeah. Yep. Take it off.
Yep.
I'm good to go.
That was right.
I never dreamed that I would climb over the moon in ecstasy, but nevertheless it's there that I'm shortly about to be. 'Cause I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden chance to make my way. And with a golden ticket, it's the golden way. I've got a golden chance to make my way. And with a golden ticket, it's a golden
Stop. It says the 1st of October. That's tomorrow.
Jumping Johnny, now, Charlie, we've got lots to do. Comb your hair, wash your face, polish your We don't have too much time.
On the way home today, you ran into
glad you said something.
Yes, I'm glad too.
Yeah, right.
Cane's all crooked.
I know, the cane's really wobbly.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, right?
What an entrance.
Ooh, they're creepy. Oh.
That's awesome. But nothing dangerous. Don't be alarmed. And as soon as you come,
Don't be alarmed, Grandpa.
will the children kindly step up? Here.
Dad, stop me.
I'm trying to help you, sweetheart.
Give me that pen.
Fresh.
You're
Wow.
always making things difficult.
Yeah, was good.
Nicely handled, Baruka. She's a girl who knows where she's going.
Yeah, she sure is.
Wait a minute, what's in that small print there? It's a bottle. Oh, if you have any problems, dial information.
Oh.
Well, I know there's a door here somehow.
He's so obnoxious.
Oh my God, look at them.
Is it my soul that calls upon my name?
Let me out, you scream! Somebody's touching me!
It's getting smaller and
Smaller,
smaller.
smaller, yeah.
No, it's not. He's getting bigger.
He's at it again.
Where's the chocolate?
I doubt if there is any.
I doubt if any of us will get out of here alive.
It's like Alice in
Never
Wonderland.
doubt what nobody
Yeah.
is sure about. Boys and girls. The chocolate room.
Oh, no, it's big.
Yeah, what?
Absolutely awesome.
Hold your breath. Make a wish. Count to 3. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look into your imagination. There's nothing to If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
What a disgusting, dirty river.
It's industrial waste, that.
Oh.
Around your watershed, Wonka. It's polluted. It's chocolate.
Well, they're eating next to it.
Chocolate? It's chocolate. A chocolate river.
It's the most fantastic thing I've ever seen. 10,000 gallons an hour. And look at my waterfall. That's the most important thing.
What kind of rubbish is that?
I'm sorry, but all questions must be submitted in writing. And so, in the greatest of secrecy, I
Oh, yeah.
transported the entire population of Oompa Loompas to my factory here.
Hey, Daddy, I want an Oompa Loompa.
Of course you do.
Give me an Oompa Loompa right away.
All right, Ruka, all right. I'll get you one before the day's out.
I want an Oompa Loompa now. Turn it, you net.
All right.
Oh, boy. Oh,
He
yeah.
can't bring it all.
Augusto, sweetheart, save some room for later.
Augustus, please, don't do that. My chocolate must never be touched by human hands.
See? But,
Yeah, see, he's doing it.
no.
Oh, great.
Oh, nice blue.
Well, you did say that room was edible.
Yeah.
My beautiful chocolate.
Don't just stand there, do something.
Help. Please.
Oh, he's so helpful.
What's happening to him?
It looks like he's drowning.
Dive in, save him.
Oh, it's too late.
Too late.
He's had it now. The suction's got him.
Oh, my God.
Where is he?
Watch the pipe.
How
Oh,
long is he going to stay
boy.
down, Daddy?
That's scary.
There's no better time to learn.
Oh, no.
Plumber.
Stuck in the pipe there, isn't he, Wonka? It's his stomach that's done that.
Smell us in 5 seconds.
Impossible, my dear lady. That's absurd. Unthinkable. Why? Because that pipe doesn't go to the marshmallow room. It goes to the fudge room. Terrible man.
If you are wise, you'll listen to me. What do you get when you guzzle down sweets? Eating as much as an elephant eats. What are you at? Getting terribly fat. What do you think will come of that?
Can you imagine being a kid and just
I know.
Oh my
experiencing
gosh,
that?
yeah.
Hey, Daddy, I want a boat like this. A beautiful paddle boat. That's what I want.
What she wants is a good kick in the pants.
I think I'm gonna be seasick.
Here, try one of these.
What are they?
Rainbow drops.
Ew, she's picking her nose.
Oh, oh, Jody have it. Look at her.
I know, a worse one. Whoa. Multiverse. Ah!
I can take a joke, but this has gone too far.
Oh,
Turn us around.
Oh, well, you saw a chicken's head get cut off.
oh
What?
my God.
Ooh, it's upward.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it's all terrifying stuff.
Singing which direction we are going.
I love it.
There's no knowing where we're rowing, or which way the river's flowing. Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is a hurricane a-blowing?
Oh, boy.
Not a speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing.
Oh, my
God.
God.
Fires of hell.
Calmed him down, though.
My God.
Is the grizzly reaper mowing?
Oh, shit.
The danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing. And they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing.
It's phenomenal.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, jeez. Whoa.
A small step for man, but a giant step for us.
Boy, that's great stuff.
That's exploding candy for your enemies. Great idea. Need more jellyfish.
Oh, God.
Too cold.
Putting the jacket in there.
coat.
It's a gourmet cookie for you.
One for you and one for you.
Yeah, what about Charlie?
And one for Charlie.
Hey, she's got two. I want to know. Start squawking, you twit.
Everybody has
Good for
had
you.
one.
See?
One is enough for anybody. Now come along.
It's tomato soup. It's hot and creamy. I can actually feel it running down my throat. It's delicious.
Keep going, keep going.
Testing everybody.
Yeah, I'm missing.
It sure is great soup.
Watch.
Hey, second course is coming up. Roast beef and a baked potato.
You can say that again. Look what it's done to my kid.
Wasn't listening.
it.
We come to the dessert.
I'm telling you.
What are you doing now?
Oh, God.
What the heck?
Feel funny.
Not surprised.
What's happening?
You're blowing up like a balloon. Like a blueberry. Somebody do something. It happens every time. They all become blueberries. You really done it this time, haven't you, Wonka? I'll break you for this. Oh, well, I got it right in here.
Help! Help!
We gotta let the air out of her quick. There's no air in there. Huh? That's juice. Juice? Would you roll the young lady down to the juicer?
Juicer.
Juicy. Oh, God.
She has to be squeezed immediately before she explodes. Explode? It's a fairly simple operation.
Look at it. Gonna roll it down.
Chewing style when it's once in a while. It stops you from smoking and brightens your smile. But it's repulsive, revolting and rude. Chewing and chewing all day.
God.
The way that a cow does.
Chewing your cud.
I got a blueberry for a daughter.
As long as she lives.
No, didn't listen.
That's fantastic.
That's a
Weird.
Try some more. The strawberries taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Snozberries. Who ever heard of a snozberry?
We are the music makers. And we are the dreamers of dreams.
Well,
Nothing's happening.
you're right, Charlie.
I can't understand why.
Okay.
He hasn't moved so much in
What do we do now?
20 years.
We're in big trouble. Mr. Walkie is gonna like this.
Stay up here all
You
day.
get kicked out.
I'm gonna try and get down.
All right, Charlie, but please be very careful.
Hey, it's fun, Grandpa. It works. Come on in. The air's fine.
I don't know, Charlie.
Come on, give me your
20
hand.
years. I don't think I ought to.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Better than walking.
That's slow, right?
Hey, try this, Grandpa.
All right, Charlie.
Be careful.
You did it, Grandpa.
Oh, yeah.
I think I hit an air pocket.
This way.
Let's just fly
Oh,
slow.
careful.
Why not?
Big fan.
That's right.
I'm a bird.
I'm a plane.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Grandpa, I can't get down.
Uh-oh, and you can't grab anything too high. Oh, no.
It's so close.
Charlie, it happens to me. We're in trouble, Charlie. I can't stop.
It's pulling me
The only way. Attaboy.
Good.
Again.
Keep burping.
Wonderful, Charlie.
Oh, boy.
Grab onto me, Charlie. We're gonna be all right now.
Oh, boy.
And grab the metal all the way down.
Oh, my God.
Hey, Daddy, I want to golden goose. Here we go again.
All right, sweetheart.
I
All
want.
right. Daddy will get you a golden goose as soon as we get home.
No, I want one of those.
Wonka, how much do you want for the golden goose?
They're not for sale.
Name your price.
She can't have one.
Pink macaroons and a billion balloons. I'm full
He's like,
balloons and
she's
give it
gone.
to me. No,
Wow.
Oh, that's
Terrible.
I want the whole world. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolates. Give it to me now.
I'm gonna get it.
I want today. I want tomorrow. How? I want it now. Don't care how. I want it.
You got
Totally.
it now.
Nobody cares.
You got it.
Where'd she go? Where all the other bad eggs go? Down the garbage chute.
The garbage chute.
What's that?
Aruga went first.
Really be burnt in the furnace, will they?
Well, I think that furnace is lit only every other day, so they have a good sporting chance.
That's so bad.
This is going to be a good lesson to
right.
listen to.
Is this gonna go fast, Grandpa?
Sure, Charlie, it's got more gas in it than a politician.
That's good.
Violet's done.
Mike's gotta do something.
Ooh, messy. Oh,
Oh my God. That's nice.
Look at them. They're having such a blast back there. Well, there we go. The shrimp on them.
Oh God.
Grandpa's having a
Fun
ball.
with that. Yeah,
Put it on her nose.
they're not though.
Car wash just sound effects.
Is that Japanese?
No, that's Wonka wash spelled backwards. Ladies and gentlemen,
Finest bath.
That's as far as it goes. Can we watch?
if the good Lord had intended us to walk, he wouldn't have invented roller skates. Now, would you all please put these on? Lights, camera,
Where's the chocolate?
it's flying over our heads in a million pieces.
Oh wow. Uh-oh.
Trap.
Yes, I'm sure I could. I'm pretty sure I could.
Pretty
But it might have
Oh boy.
I'm gonna be the first person in the world to be
Whoa,
Goggles.
boy, yes, I'm listening.
And he's gonna. Look, he's excited to do it. Whoop.
I bumped the puppy.
Look up.
Yes, right there. Oh my gosh.
Why is he taking so long? Million pieces take a long time to put together.
Yes.
Something coming through.
Oh boy.
Tell, but I
The little group's getting smaller by the minute.
Oh my god.
Me, everybody, I'm the first
He
person
doesn't care.
That's right here. What's the matter?
television. Wow, what a wild trip that was. Nobody's gonna
Up by his head.
I don't want to go in there. Be quiet.
You suffocate. Oompa.
busy whole day wasted. Goodbye, Neil.
Whole day wasted.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't see any rules, did we, Charlie?
Wrong, sir. Wrong. Under Section 37B of the contract signed by him, it states quite clearly that all offers shall become null and void if, and you can read it for yourself in this photostatic copy, I, the undersigned, shall forfeit all rights, privileges, and licenses herein and herein contained, etc., etc. Fax mentis incendium gloria culpum, etc., etc. Memo bis punitor delicatum. It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
It all comes out.
You're a
He
cheat
did
and a
tell you.
swindler. That's what you are. How could you do a thing like this? Build up a little boy's hopes and then smash all his dreams to pieces. You're an inhuman monster.
I said good day.
Precious boy.
So shines a good deed in a weary.
Charlie.
My boy.
You won! You did it! You did it! I knew you would! I just knew you would! Charlie, forgive me for putting you through this. Please forgive me. Come in, Mr. Wilkinson. Charlie, meet Mr. Wilkinson.
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh.
No, that's not Slugworth. He works for me. For you? I had
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
You won! The jackpot, my dear sir. The grand and glorious jackpot.
Chocolate?
The chocolate, yes, the chocolate. But that's just the beginning. We have to get on. We have so much time and so little to do.
Reverse.
That's right.
This way, please.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that great?
Oh
Come
god.
in, Charlie. Grandpa Joe, sir.
It's like, what I
Hold
do.
on tight. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen.
Oh boy.
He's good at suspense.
Oh.
Speed will never get through.
What?
Ah,
You mean we're going?
up and out.
This room's made of glass. It'll shatter in 1,000 pieces. We'll be cut to ribbons.
Probably.
Jesus.
Probably.
Probably.
Hold on, everybody. Here it comes.
Amazing.
Look at that.
You did it, Mr. Wonka. Congratulations.
Get up, take a look.
I think it's the most wonderful place in the whole world.
Very pleased to hear you say that. Because I'm giving it to you.
You're giving Charlie the...
I can't go on forever. And I don't really want to try.
And me.
Absolutely.
What happens to the rest of the
Family.
Oh, so good.
But Charlie, don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
What happened?
He lived happily ever after.
Charlie deserves it.
Good. Yes. Yay, Charlie.
Oh, that's it.
Yay.
Yeah, Gene Wilder, he's so great as
He
Willy
was-
Wonka.
Couldn't have been a better
Wonderful.
perfect
My God, that's
person
good.
for that.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
That was
Wow.
just a
Gene Wilder,
perfect
yeah.
setting.
That's very good.
It's beautiful.
It's my favorite
That
song.
was good.
I love that song.
I do too. That's my favorite.
Beautiful.
That was very nice. Oh my goodness.
What
Aw.
a great movie.
It doesn't pay to be a brat.
No, it's a great underdog story, you know.
That's right.
Good. The good
Very
prevailed.
good. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that was really good.
I think that was
Money.
wonderfully told, and I did see this when I was a kid growing up, but I never watched the whole thing because the beginning I didn't see much. I did see Charlie. I remember him getting the ticket, but I don't remember like visually how it happened, and just some of the experiences in the factory itself, and then him getting the factory. But there were a lot of things that happened in the factory, and all of the introduction I didn't see, and I was just like, oh my God. And the fact that I knew there were bratty kids, I remember Violet, but and I got, like, before we went into this today, I kind of thought Violet and Veruca, I think that was her name,
Veruca,
that they were like the same person, and I just remember
Oh,
a
yeah, I
bratty
can
girl
see, yeah.
that kept complaining and wanting things and just
That's
very
right,
selfish.
yeah.
But there were two of them, and everyone besides Charlie and his granddad were like mean and just spoiled and selfish and terrible.
That's for sure.
And you know, it's it's almost as if Willy Wonka, as the tickets were being found, he was really looking into each kid, like what kind of a, you know, not stereotyping them, but seeing what kind of kid they were as the tickets were being found. And going through the factory, it was almost like enticing them to do something.
Yeah.
That, you know, he kind of thought, okay, well, I'm gonna, you know, check them out, see if they're going to fall for it. And the fine print was perfect because
That's
you
right.
really didn't know, like the first room, you know, the room where everything was edible, you know, and Augusta going into the river, you know, he did say it was all edible, but
right.
he went that farther. He's like, oh no, don't do that. If the kid
Not
stopped,
listening.
you know, then, you know, Willy Wonka would have said, okay, well, you know, he has a chance. But he kind of just, you know, tried them out just to see if they were going to fail, and they did.
Yeah. It was
One by
kind of
one.
fun
Yeah,
too
that's good.
because he
The
really would
TV,
mess with
yeah,
people.
the Wonka Vision. I
That's
mean,
right.
that was enticing Mike.
Yep.
Oh,
The
sure
golden
was.
egg. I mean, of course,
come on.
Veruca's going to want
Veruca,
that.
Yeah, she wants
You
everything.
know,
Yes.
and the gum after the everlasting gobstopper. You know, then he
Yeah, very
introduced the gum.
specific details
Right,
on their
and
personalities.
Violet was
and
right there.
obsessions.
Okay, I'm
That's
going to
right.
entice her. Oh, yep, she failed.
That's right.
So
I loved how Violet and Veruca were just like yelling at each other. Mainly Violet was like yelling at her because
She
it was
was
funny
right.
having
She
two
was,
bratty
yes.
kids.
Yeah,
Like, she's
you
like,
know,
shut up.
And Violet, she wasn't that bratty, but she just wanted, she was like done with her father. I'm surprised she took her father
Oh,
with
they were
her.
very fresh.
You know, because all he wanted to do was sell cars.
Yeah.
But she, like, this is my time. And she's right, you know, this is my, and don't go selling cars. You know,
It is
it's
true,
my time.
yeah. I thought she was kind of rude, but you are right.
She
'Cause he
was.
kept like
She
bringing
was
in his
rude,
own
yeah.
business because he needs to make money, so it's all about that, you know. But the characters were very entertaining,
That's right.
like
They
in a
were.
shock factor of wow. But they were
Oh my
supposed to
God.
be even more exaggerated to show like certain types of people that
Yes.
you know are very inconsiderate, just super spoiled, no lessons learned. They just always get what they want.
Right.
And I know in this case, like most times it's because of the parents. I know sometimes kids
right.
could just have issues and
Mm-hmm.
struggles that it's not always the parent, but here it was always the parents
Parents
because
always
they just
gave in to
enabled
them.
them and
Yeah.
and
Yes.
just created monsters.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
on the other side, if you look at, yes, it's the parents, but look at Charlie and his
Oh,
upbringing.
definitely, yes.
He had 4 grandparents.
That's
Very
right.
caring
So
family.
Very
nice.
caring. He's working after school. His
Yeah, the
mother's
newspaper,
working
yeah.
tirelessly. You know, he had such a wonderful upbringing. Even
Yeah.
though he was
That's
so
right.
poor, I mean, look, a loaf of bread was a feast to
Yeah, he
them.
was so
Yeah.
respectful.
You know, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
another thing. And Willy Wonka, he just honed in on that, and you know, he just fell in love with the kid. You can just see that he was just so happy when he gave back the everlasting gobstopper.
I enjoyed
He was
that.
so happy about it.
And Grandpa Joe got out of bed finally after how many?
That was a fun
20
scene.
years,
20
that's so
and that was
funny.
kind of humorous too because
It
it's
was.
sad to hear that,
Oh.
but he would be in a lot worse shape.
Yeah,
That's not the
yeah.
point.
Didn't have any bed sores or anything.
I know. And
Time
he
got
got
out,
out. He was
don't-
actually okay, not like,
moving.
like you know, and then had a
That's
whole
funny.
number after that.
The
like,
whole time
oh,
Charlie
it's
was
cute.
alive.
That's right.
His grandparents had been in the bed.
Yeah, and
Oh, boy.
I enjoyed the whole intro because that was a lot longer than I realized because I thought Charlie got the ticket after like the first 15 minutes of the movie, and I knew he was a very kind person, but I didn't realize like how caring his whole family was, and they're all super poor, they have nothing, and bread is a feast to them, and they all just appreciate what they have, like all these little things could be huge things, and no matter what, like all these people bedridden just in the same bed, and they're all so happy, like they're always positive, they're not
Especially
really
when he
bickering
walks
at
in
each
the
other and
room.
being nasty.
That is their
That's
life.
right, yeah,
Charlie
that's
was
right.
Yeah,
their
he's
life.
the highlight, and
Yeah.
everyone truly cares for each other, and that's so genuine.
good.
And you know, you hope, and I know a lot of families do love and care like that, but it's just so nice to see that.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
And I love how the tickets were they were faded. You know, you had very specific people that won the tickets, and some through cheating, you know, like Veruca, who like used all her dad's money and
He
worked for
stopped
slave
production
driven
for his
to-
company.
Yeah, it was so
For
ridiculous. you know?
shifts at a time, you know, just incredible what he would do to spoil his daughter.
right.
And the mom would be encouraging that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't, you know, you have to do this.
It's terrible.
terrible.
But to have it completely faded with specific kinds of people and a variety of them.
That's right.
And then Charlie was the one who got the number one, the last golden ticket.
That's right.
And it wasn't the first or second shot, you know, third time's a charm.
Right.
But I like how difficult it was, and it was so random by chance that
That's when
he
found the coin.
He found the coin. He
That's
went
right.
in. He got a different kind of Wonka bar. Ate that, and I was like, "Oh, is that it?" Because that's what I was trying to figure out. I'm like, "Oh, maybe he's gonna find a little golden slip or something at the bottom." But no, it was another one because he wanted to get one
classic.
for
For
Grandpa.
Grandpa Joe,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think that was
That's good.
even more thoughtful and
Yes, it
meaningful
was.
because they are so close and they're a team,
That's
and
right. That's really
so they
good.
both won it together in a way. So
And
I
it
think
makes
was
sense
great.
that he would, the candy shop owner would give him a classic, because that's what he probably would think a grandfather would like, a classic
classic,
bar,
yeah.
you know, as
That's right,
opposed
yeah.
to the Scrumptious, whatever it was.
I know they had
The
so
new
many
one,
fun names.
Scrumptious or something.
I was thinking like Dr. Seuss and Alice in Wonderland because
Oh
it was
my
so
gosh,
bizarre
yes, yes.
and like
They went into that room that kept going to smoke.
yeah, so it made me think
like,
of Alice in Wonderland
you
for
know,
sure.
and Willy Wonka, that's his imagination.
Yes.
You know, he's just a kid at heart, and he's just this great, you know, he's an expert at it. I mean,
He's an inventor.
He's an
great
inventor. That's it.
That's right.
And God, I mean, it just expands your mind of like, wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah, I love how bizarre it was. Like you have these like childish, in a fun way though. You had so many brilliant colors and you know a landscape that you can kind of relate to, but it's all like you know a little bit off and just again Alice in Wonderland thinking that way. We just have a
right,
bunch of bright colors. You have mushrooms growing and different kind of plants and trees and it's all like candy that you can eat.
Yeah.
And I was gonna joke
Tyson.
when he was like everything's edible or almost edible. I was thinking, oh well, no one's going for the green stuff because that could be edible. Maybe it's some kind of I don't know what kind of
That's
candy that would be,
right.
but
That's right.
but it was fun. I
Yes,
really did
it was
enjoy
good.
that room
Yeah.
and the chocolate fountain. It was kind of gross. I was kind of laughing to myself because I'm like, oh, it looks like sludge or something. And I love chocolate, but I like how all of them are just so like ignorant and they're just like eating this chocolate and they're like, oh look, there's something wrong with your like your river and it's contaminated with you know
Not even
whatever.
thinking
Like
it's a
an
chocolate
acid
factory.
That's right.
It's just
Yeah.
funny how they were
Oh
just
my
so
gosh.
nonchalant,
Yes.
not caring. I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
and there were some parts in this that really freaked me out, and I
Yes.
don't
Yes.
recall it as a kid because I was easily freaked out as a kid because I never watched anything that you know you would, which is fine, you know, but you would not let me watch anything that was a little scary or
Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. Oh my God, I had a great childhood, and everyone's
Yes,
different,
right,
so I just
yes.
never was desensitized, but. that tunnel scene where Willy Wonka's freaking out everybody.
Which is
Right,
hilarious
that's
you
right,
say
yeah.
that,
Okay.
because she would let me watch that when I was a little kid, and that
Maybe
part did scare
over
me.
time.
But I think, you know, it's not the next generation of kids, but it was like,
You just
a
gotta go like,
few
oh, there you
hours,
go.
a few
That's
kids
right.
later, it's like,
Yeah.
you guys can watch it. You guys can't watch it, you know. But yeah, I was scared of that scene.
And maybe she was a little bit younger than you.
Maybe,
That
maybe,
was
yeah.
probably
But
trying
I
to
remember
watch it.
watching it when
I
I
think
was
probably.
fairly young, yeah. But,
Yeah, because that was actually pretty
It
freaky
was.
watching it this time,
Okay.
because like he's mentally like messing with you to see how you're going to respond to certain situations.
Yeah.
But that actually went really dark, and we kept seeing these images. We saw a chicken's head get cut off. It happens quick, but I was like, what? And then you see the lizard eat the insect, and
That's
you know
right.
the face. I already saw an eyeball up close,
Oh, yeah.
and
Right.
but we were
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
like these like really disturbing
Right,
images
and
for
yes,
kids
right.
and even adults, and it's like you're in a beautiful candy factory that is a child's dream,
right.
yet you have these like images of
and then
death.
Slugworth
That's
would
very
come
gross.
out, like it would just, you know, be in your face, like, oh, don't forget about him.
That's right. Like,
I love that he was in her face, and even
Yes.
though
Yeah.
you know I thought it was just stereotyped, like, oh, he has a scar on his face and he seems like very evil and stuff, that he was Slugworth, and he that was totally what it was, and that was it. But I didn't know that twist at the end, that he was actually working with Wonka. I thought that was so cool. And then
that was
I
a
don't think
great
you remembered
twist.
either, if you even saw that, because you were even like, wow.
No,
Like,
I probably didn't see that. I mean, I saw it, but I don't remember it.
I
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
just remember, I forgot, I knew he worked for Willy Wonka, but I thought he really was Slugworth, and they were just working together. I forgot that he was a totally different name, you know, so that was interesting for me at
Yeah,
this
yeah.
time to watch it
I thought he
again.
was a spy for the other.
that was the whole
factory.
thing that they
That's what I
kept like
mean.
telling us.
And then in the
That's what
beginning, I
I
thought when I
like that.
first watched this, you know, a couple first times, I was like, okay, well maybe this guy with the cleaver, you know, sliced him.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
Oh.
he was like, oh.
Or maybe they have like a whole
he's a
history
guy,
too.
Yeah.
A
The
sequel,
tinker.
a prequel. What happened?
Yeah.
But it was a great story, and Charlie actually, I mean, at the same time, like in the beginning, I love how it all worked out, but to have Joe really get his grandson's hopes up, they have the golden ticket, like, I get he was trying to be positive and make it exciting, but I do agree with the mother where I think he was doing it too much.
She was
Too much,
cautious.
definitely.
She
Where-
was like, you know,
Yeah.
that's not reality.
Yeah,
right,
and
it
even
is,
though he's
yeah.
a very caring person, Charlie is, and he's not greedy, Joe was kind of like pushing that to be greedy. Like, I deserve this and I should get it, and he was getting so disappointed that he wasn't getting it,
That's
kind
right,
of
yeah.
thing. But luckily it didn't go like that.
But
Like,
right
he
down
really
to
was
the end,
very-
you know, he was going to, I'm going to get him back. Let's
Yeah.
go to Slugworth and sell the, you know,
That's right.
the recipe. So Charlie showed him, you know, a lesson. You know, he taught him a lesson that no, that's not how. At the end, you know, I'm going to give this back to Willy Wonka. Like right down to the end, Charlie showed Grandpa, you know,
That's right.
the right way.
Yeah, and Grandpa said it right away. Like, he was just
Yeah.
like, well, we're going to give it to Slugworth.
That's
and,
right.
You know, because he was
yes.
so angry.
Mhm.
And I get him defending Charlie, but they did break rules and they did sign a contract.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't good to be forced into that and not read the fine print and not even be able to read the fine print. And Willy Wonka should have like explained some of the
Yeah.
basic details. You break into these rules, you're not getting any of this. But he just truly, purely wanted to test them to make sure that he could give his factory, his lifelong, like his hard work, everything that's him, to someone that he trusts and knows will carry it on like how he
right.
envisioned it, you know. So at the end, like, that was the whole test with the gobstopper, since his employee, his friend, actually trapped them and said, if you bring this gobstopper to me, I'll give you lots of money, you know. So for him to give it back at the end, that was the whole test. So
That was
even though-
probably the fine print. If you give that back,
yeah.
Maybe that's
It's
what it was,
yours.
yeah.
Yeah,
if
and I
you
do
pass on
believe
this.
Willy Wonka was upset at the fact that Charlie
Yeah.
broke rules. That wasn't part of the full test. It was a gobstopper at the end for him to give it back. But it was still a lesson learned, because
Yes.
every time one of the kids or even parents did something really wrong, the Oompa Loompas would come out and sing about it, which was nice. So there's always like a moral to the story, and they kept saying, if you're greedy, if you're not greedy, you'll go far.
Right.
right, yeah.
Right.
And I think that's an important
Yeah.
message to have because it's definitely not a good thing to be so like tunnel vision about you and greedy about
it, yeah.
stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I
That's
love the story, and
I did too.
Good
And
things.
I think even after Charlie and Grandpa tried the fizzy stuff, and they went back into the next room, like they weren't looking for him. Like Willie didn't say anything.
yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
So I think he was just playing along. There was only 2 kids left at that
That's right,
point.
yeah.
So he knew that the end was near. He knew that
Yeah,
because Willie already knew he was going to the Wonka Vision room after that, and he knew the fate was going to be laid out for him. So he was like, "I'll just let him go," and just he was playing it out. He knew he was completely he was so thoughtful in his whole process of this whole right from the beginning, from years before, trying to get a child to take over the whole factory. It was very well thought out.
Yeah, it was.
Very good.
Are there any parts that stood out that you really liked, Mom?
Yeah, I just liked everything, really.
Any one big thing that you thought that was funny?
Well, when Willie and his grandfather Joe, when they took their drink and they went up to the top of the house with her, and everything else, they're going towards the fan, and then he finally realized if he
that was pretty.
That was fun. Yeah, I like that scene too. And that was the only again. Being in the factory was so much fun, but we were so focused on Charlie and Joe in the first half of the movie, and then once we get into the factory, it's everyone, and that was the only scene where I was like, oh yeah, I want to see more interaction with them. We had a little bit, but we really didn't see much of them. We weren't really as focused, right? But again, and
it's okay because everyone else was very entertaining.
Yeah, they were very entertaining, and I didn't really think of that until that bubble scene, and then I was like, oh, the fizzy drink. I was like, oh, yeah, we haven't seen them really together.
And Grandpa enticed it.
Yeah, he did.
Grandpa, he engaged.
Yeah. Sure did.
Yeah. My favorite scene, ultimately, when they went out into the edible room. And that song came out.
The Pure Imagination. That is a great song.
That was my favorite scene.
That
whole, just as a kid watching that, I was just so envious and so jealous.
I want to
It's
see
so
that.
fun. And you knew Willy Wonka was going to be really funny, and and you can tell he was really honing in on these kids' personalities because he was really playing with them right off the bat, with the cane and stopping Veruca. Because he knew that she would be I want,
Yeah,
that's right.
And he was. You can just tell he was just very playful right off the bat.
I enjoyed that scene too because right when he was, like you said, going down the stairs, it started off like a slow lesson where he kept slamming down his cane to stop them, and then it became more of like a dance where he would go forward a little bit, then stop, and then block them, and then they would start to follow his lead. Like he was teaching them to be there are rules that you got to follow, you got to be alert, but you got to let loose a little bit and just follow my lead kind of thing. So I kind of took it as an intro to what they were getting themselves into and how far they would go.
Anticipation is half the fun.
Discipline, rules, what they would break. So I thought that was kind of fun to see him mess with them and see if they would go with his flow or not.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be just boring going down the stairs. We can have fun with this. And then when he just bowed and just let everyone go, I mean, what class he had,
Sure.
Yeah, that was great. Not my favorite scene, but the Violet turning violet, I always remembered that scene growing up. So that was a big one.
Oh, yeah.
And Oompa Loompas, all their songs, I just enjoyed it, and I just loved them calling out all the bad kids
all
and
the
parents.
Lessons they had.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
And I liked Violet blowing up, too, and they had to roll around.
Yeah, rolling around. That was hilarious. I like that, too.
I love Veruca going down the chute. What a bad egg.
I know, Dad and Daddy too.
Oh,
one that gave me anxiety was Augusta when he was stuck in the pipe, and luckily he can breathe, but I was like, oh God.
And then Willie's like, oh boy, let's watch it. I know. Oh, the pressure is it's just mounting. I hope it lasts longer.
It makes you so uncomfortable because these kids might die, and he's just like, because he knew all this stuff was going to happen anyway, so he likes to mess with people, so it made it more shocking and fun that way.
That's right.
But yeah, and the Oompa Loompas, I'm not trying to overthink it. Again, this came out in 1971, but the Oompa Loompas, I like how they look so different, that they're bright orange and they have green hair, kind of like Candy, but not really natural, but they just look different and almost alien in a way. Because like you watch a lot of Marvel, so like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing. I don't know. But you know, they were telling, or Willy Wonka was telling stories about how he saved them. They were like a tribe from a different country or world or something, and he saved them from all these beasts that sounded like, you know, Dr. Seuss monsters or characters or something. And, but they seemed happy, and that's positive.
And they
where he was
they
trying to
were
keep them
very happy. Every
What came
song,
from him.
they were saying you like the Oompa Loompas. They were very content. They were very happy.
Yeah,
They'll go
so that's
far.
good. That is good. So I like the imagination between, like, well, everything in the factory to how weird it was where you enter this magic land. It's not just straightforward going into a factory. And I like how it starts off kind of like, oh, you have
Disney.
walls. It's not as exciting as you think it would be because it's like white walls in the beginning. It's tight. It's kind of boring, like, okay, what are we getting ourselves into? And then you have the hooks right away that are hands. Like, what the heck is this? You know, I don't know that. I don't remember that at all. And then you go through the door, and then it's claustrophobic again, and then it, you know, the same door you go through, and it's a different room, and it just really throws you for a loop where you're like, wow, okay, this is magical and something I don't understand.
Genius.
Like, so definitely fun. It keeps you on your toes and interested to see where they're going next, and you know, going on that ferry through the chocolate river, then going through a portal of disaster.
And you wonder, was it even moving at all, or was it just a movie like screen, and they were just moving this one?
Right? I know.
Right? Were they
never know. But to have those kind of technologies, like, is pretty awesome. And the science behind everything, like moving the chocolate. And I like how they explain things to make it kind of make sense, and you just kind of go like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? But like with television, how it just scatters and just teleports into the next
million pieces.
You know, yeah. So it's like, ooh, that's kind of neat how you can actually like move a huge piece of chocolate into make a really tiny one, which you would try to do the opposite to make more chocolate. Yeah. So it was definitely interesting.
That's for sure.
But I'm glad it went from large to small, because it made Mike large to small.
And
so imagine if there's a large Mike.
Problem. Yeah. And you know what, that probably was the thing too, where they were like, yeah, we should make large chocolate, you know, and they're like, yeah, we can't, because then what are we going to do with Mike? He's just going to be an issue.
Exactly.
They took him away.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? He's just going to suffocate him.
Don't suffocate him.
Just so casual. But another scene that I really liked, it was subtle, but from the start, where you first see Willy Wonka and he's going down the red carpet and he's struggling with his cane, and he takes a long time to get to the gate, and everyone's just staring, and we're seeing all kinds of like reactions of people just mouth open and oh my God, you know, because he's so mysterious. The gates have been closed forever. There's so much wonder there, and you don't know what to expect, but you're thinking youthful, energetic, you know, a Candyman to come out, and he's like really struggling to get to the gate, and then all of a sudden his cane gets stuck, and it's funny, and then he somersaults right to the gate. So that was a fun scene.
It was, and then you knew, okay, this is setting you up for the whole movie, and you didn't know it yet, you know, but he was just playing with them the whole time. It was just a test.
Like, yeah, this is what this movie's about, you know, the chocolate factory, and I like how the whole world was only focused on getting the golden ticket.
For sure,
all around the world. Like
absolutely.
everyone, even that crazy story in the beginning where the woman's, her husband was kidnapped and she got the box from Wonka.
How long do I have to think about it?
Going like this, what's the balance?
Like she just didn't care, really. She just wanted the chocolate. She just wanted the golden ticket.
And it makes sense that the fifth ticket that was originally they found it was a scam. The guy faked it.
Yeah, someone's going to do
wealthy,
that. Yeah, I like how they, thought about that.
That's
because
right.
it's definitely a real thing. People do scam all the time. So,
right.
And I like that build up though, where we're disappointed, even though we saw this before and we knew that Charlie was going to get the ticket. It still made you sad, like, oh man, like it's done, like you don't have hope anymore that you're going to get a ticket, and. So it is a fun movie because it gives you that hope of like, oh, when something exciting happens and there's a possibility you could win the lottery or something, and it's always fun to have hope.
That's right. Definitely,
Absolutely. And to dream, he doesn't have many dreams. I think before this whole contest came about, his dream was to go inside with all the other kids and get some candy on a day-to-day basis. It looked like they did that every day.
Yeah.
And his dream was just to go and join them. But no, he had to go sell papers. He had to go to work. So, that was his dream prior to that. So what better dream than, of course he's going to cling on to that, the golden ticket.
And one last thing I want to say is I thought it was funny where, kids don't think that when they're watching this, but when, everyone would go into, where all the candy was, they just grab it and start licking it and putting it down and just grabbing more and just taking a dip with their finger.
When everyone wants to do it. Yes, you always want to do that when you're
and it's like so
it's
exciting.
Like a dream, like the whole thing.
Did that too, she wanted to put her hand in that creamy stuff.
I just I was thinking, with the mushroom and and it's cool, that's so much fun. And being a kid, you'd want to do that. And I would honestly now go into an amusement park saying if it was all sanitary, I'd be like, okay, well this is just for us. But I don't know because I'm such a weirdo now because we both are from the medical field and you just know all these things. So I'd be like, oh God, I'm like, oh, it's contaminated, and even Willy Wonka was freaking out when Augustus fell into the river and he's like, my beautiful chocolate, but still I'm like, oh God. And then the wallpaper, that was funny. I was like, oh, because they had scratch and sniff for a while and made me think of that. But I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept. But they're just licking the wall. That was such a weird scene. Oh my God! But again, it's just different and
that's him. That's the imagination is just flowing with this man. He's just pure genius.
Can you imagine? I was just having funny moments thinking people could have that wallpaper in their hallway, their main door hallway, and then lick the paper.
If you have anything,
I'll be down in a minute. No problem. I'm just here.
Yummy. What kind of flavored wallpaper would you get?
I'd get blueberry.
I get a weird one. I get banana.
I'd be a violet.
Banana. I like banana.
Blueberry and bacon.
Oh my
gosh. They'll be peeling off
oh my God. Wallpaper. Hey, you know what? There's probably a lot of chemicals involved, but if there wasn't and say it was natural in some way, you could lose weight too, right? You'd be like, sweet, I want bacon. I'll just lick it on the wall.
Taste of it. I'm good.
You don't have to cook it or anything.
You have a bite, you just have a lick.
Yeah, or that gum that Violet had where she's
right.
ooh, and you're having these big meals. And if they can fix that problem at the end, that's a pretty cool fix.
Dessert time.
You're on a diet, okay, well I can have this, and you just need a VR so you can see what you're eating and then just chew that gum and be like, oh, this is amazing.
That's right.
Fun ideas. So let us know what you thought of this movie.
Good.
Please tell us facts, stuff that you would like us to know, because that's always fun.
Right, yes.
Yeah, I'm just so happy that the whole family can live there.
Yeah,
me too. It was a great idea.
Can you imagine his mom doesn't have to work anymore?
Yes.
Just all those little things.
It was meant to be.
It's going to mean so much to Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And I think I said this already, but I love the mystery behind the whole factory, and everyone has stories about it, and it just made it even better. What a great outcome at the end.
It was. Beautiful story. Beautiful underdog story.
And one last thing, with all the candies that we saw, what would you like to try out of everything we saw? They had the Gobstopper, just lollipops, all kinds of weird cream things. What else?
Just a regular Willy Wonka candy bar.
That actually,
you know
what?
Really that's a good one, Mom.
I
like the mushroom with that big cream. I liked that.
It was kind of neat. I was like, ooh, because I do like creamy stuff.
And that flour. Teacup.
Yeah, I would totally take a bite out of that. I'd want to sip that and take a bite. I was like, ooh, because I love crunchy stuff too. Yeah. Okay, now I put myself in the spot. So
I'm sorry, guys. I love chocolate, but I'm not.
I go back and forth because the gummy stuff. I was never really huge into gummy bears and the Sour Patch and stuff like that. But they're okay. But yeah, I've always been mainly into chocolate, and sometimes I went to Starburst, and then they even had those candy dots that you used to get us when we were kids. I remember those. That was really
crazy though, because the paper would stick to it.
Yeah, and you would eat the paper sometimes because you couldn't get it off, and you didn't care. And I was like, or sometimes you chew it, and then you just roll it and spit it out. I'm like, oh my god, the
No,
things you did,
no, I
not even
never- I
thinking
never
like
cared for it that much.
like that it was not normal. Like, ugh. But and the more I think about it, like they tasted good, but I remember that there was like a chemical.
And the gum. I was a
aftertaste.
big gum girl. Remember, Mom?
Oh yes.
I went back and forth. Gum,
You
yeah,
gum,
not all
yeah.
day like her though. That was pretty bad.
I was probably worse because I would save it. I would put it on my bedpost.
I'm pretty sure people
Oh,
would
I
do
was
that,
fine,
but like
yeah.
I was like, ooh, God. ABC gum. It's so good. So I would say
not like
that
that anymore.
gum Violet had with no side effects.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool.
That was
Yes,
good.
I like
would go
that.
for that.
And that gobstopper was a really cool idea, but I'm crazy.
I think
so.
I would
right.
get stuck in my jaw. I was
Yeah,
it was
I
too
would,
big.
my
that
God,
freaked me out.
yes,
Like it was too
definitely.
big, like it would get caught, or you would choke on
That's
it.
right.
Like you
So
have
you
breathing
couldn't
holes.
talk.
But it never,
Everyone would see what
it
you're
never
eating.
gets smaller. So it's like, oh
Yeah.
god. So you
That's
can
right.
like
Always
choke
in
and
your
that's
mouth.
it. Yeah, it's just like, ooh.
It's 3D.
That's right.
It's
3D. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of fun.
Oh,
Thank you guys
God.
so much for watching.
Thank you.
And we'll see you very soon, as
Yes.
always. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have some chocolates.
Oompa loompa doopity dee.
You were wise, you will listen to me.